Hi everybody, I hope you enjoyed the first two videos on the site assessment that we have done. Now, we've gone to a sample house from one of my developer clients, and we brought a bunch of students to the house to show them how a Feng Shui site assessment is done. And you guys are watching this from different parts of the world, and hopefully to simulate the experience of being on site with us in a Feng Shui class. Now, of course, many of you have sent in questions after watching the two videos, and I've selected a few that represents the majority of the areas that possibly I didn't cover during the on-site process, so I'm going to cover it here. Now, just before I move on to the Q&A, just want you guys to take a short recap whenever we do Feng Shui. Now, I'm assuming that a lot of you watching this video from overseas are new to the concept of Feng Shui. So let me just give you a little bit of a brief idea of what we have done. Now, when we approach the house, one of the main questions people ask is, Joey, you didn't talk about those decorations that were in the house. How about those color schemes? Now, this is because when most of you are not aware that in Feng Shui we have classical Feng Shui, and nowadays many people talk about New Age Feng Shui. And if you're familiar with my writings and my books and my articles, from my blog, from my website, you understand that I practice classical Feng Shui, and I've been teaching this for the last 16 years. Classical Feng Shui does not talk about colors and decoration. This might be a new thing to a lot of people here, especially in Europe, where a lot of people consider that, oh, we got to paint this color to have neutral colors, to have colors that feel good, that affects your thinking, affects your emotions. Well, in true classical Feng Shui, meaning the original form of Feng Shui, in all these books that we have since the Tang Dynasty, even unto the Qing Dynasty, none of it actually talks about the usage of colors, meaning they don't actually influence Qi, meaning energy, in the Feng Shui aspects of a house. Therefore, we don't actually talk about that. In fact, you're free to use whatever colors that you are comfortable with using whenever you practice Feng Shui. And also, we are not into the decorations. So a lot of people are asking, you didn't talk about the shape of the tables, the stuff that you put on it, the stuff next to the door, you didn't talk about the plants and stuff. Well, in classical Feng Shui, in all this literature since the Tang Dynasty, 1,000 years ago until now, none of them actually talk about decorations. So these items are also not important when it comes to actual Feng Shui practice. Therefore, we didn't talk about that. Okay. Now, of course, there were some of the students who are already practicing classical Feng Shui did ask, hey, you didn't consider some of these formulas like 5 ghosts carry treasure, like the 12 phases of water formation, Sanhe water Feng Shui and all that. You see, sometimes we have to understand that this is a beginner's program. That's why I didn't go into details. I'll try to cover some of this right now. So as you can see, classical Feng Shui is focusing on real energies of the environment. So we talk about direction, location, time, and we don't talk about the decorations that are in the house, because decorations, items, actually don't emit any qi that can affect the property. So we need to be aware of that. So I've selected some questions here that represent the majority of the concerns that people would have after watching the two videos. And of course, I'm sorry if I didn't pick yours, but I'm sure that some of these may fall into the same category. So do have a look at this, and perhaps you get some answers to your questions as well. So the first question here is someone asking, the study of the land formed in a city environment. Example is tall building considered a mountain, an upper street railroad train considered a mountain, or running water. Okay, so this question mainly talks about what we call virtual mountain and virtual water. Now, here is the primary rule when assessing landforms in a city. Even in a city, you can actually see the real mountains. So if there are real mountains or hills in the vicinity, then there is no need to consider other buildings as virtual mountains. You have a real one, why do you need to care about the virtual one? Okay. So likewise, water is the same thing. If there is real water on the outside, real river formation, an actual stream or a creek in the nearby vicinity, you need to consider that as the primary concern for your Feng Shui assessment and not the roads. Now, in the absence of natural hills and mountains, in the absence of natural water, then and only then you consider other buildings as mountains. But then again, the consideration also needs to be weighted. For example, if the roads nearest to you are considered, if the roads are far away from you, are not considered. Likewise, if the house is taller than you, then yes, it's a mountain to you. If it is the same height, normally we do not consider that in our calculations. Okay, so always look for the real hills or real mountains or real water in the vicinity. Nowadays there are Google Maps. It's quite easy to have a look where these natural formations are. Now, as an extension to this question, what is the reason we need to look at all this mountain and water? Why do we need to look for the natural one? Why do we consider that? Why can't we just look at neighboring buildings? Because whenever we talk about Feng Shui, we are talking about natural qi flow. That means real qi. It has to come from nature itself. So natural surroundings such as the hill and the water is where real energy comes from. Okay? So whenever we assess Feng Shui, especially classical Feng Shui, we need to talk about real nature. So the hills, over the thousands of years as the earth orbits the sun, the magnetic pull between all the stars and the earth forms, those are the yin and yang that forms the hills and the water. So qi is a combination of many thousands of years natural formation. So it comes from the mountains, which is yin. See, mountain is non-moving, so it's the yin feature. So from the mountains, it will flow all the way to the water. So yin and yang, when they meet and converge, produces positive qi. Okay, so that's why it is absolutely necessary to study natural forms. Where it is absent, then we look at the buildings. And now, of course, the question is, so do we consider buildings as natural mountains? Obviously not. But they only have qi if they are old buildings. Why? Because the old buildings are like a container. After many, many years, as the earth orbits the sun, the actual star, which is in the constellation, the element, will now contain onto the building, captured onto the buildings, like a jar filling up the qi. So old buildings have more qi than new buildings. Okay, so this is a consideration. Alright, then there's the next question is, how do you measure the mountain or water bisectors from the center of the house if you cannot see because there are the walls? Now, obviously, there will be judgment in this, right? You see, of course you can't see through the walls. You need to ascertain. This is why you need to be on site. So when you're on site, like where we were on the first, the videos that they show you, when we're on site, we already could see where the hills are in relation to the property that we want. So when we calculate and put the chart over the house, we already know where the mountains exist in relation to the house. Okay, so you draw out the 24 directions onto your plans like this. Okay, so you have a plan and you draw the 24 directions onto the plans like this, and prior to that you walked around the area and you know that where the hills are, where the embraces are, you already seen it, but you don't know the exact degree. But after you draw this 24 directions on it, and after you see the real hill, then you know where it lands based on the calculation. So it's a combination of both. When you go on site, you visually see it, and then on paper you draw the plan out with the 24 directions. Then now you know where the mountains are. Okay, so you don't have to look through walls. Now that's how you look through the mountains. Okay, so the next question is, for house or business owners, 八字 charts, do you only look at their year animal sign, their day master as well? Okay, so for beginners, when they practice Feng Shui, they would use just the animal sign. Okay, technically it depends on what system of Feng Shui you use. Now, all systems of classical Feng Shui is valid. It depends on the context and the techniques, and also the reason why you use certain techniques for the particular house. Okay, now normally if you practice 8 mansions Feng Shui or flying star Feng Shui, then just the life gua itself would be sufficient. So every person will have a life gua, and you plot out the gua, and that gua is used in relation to the calculation. Now, should you practice San He Feng Shui, it's a different school of Feng Shui which also belongs to a classical system. That particular system is more meticulous, so they will take into consideration your pillars as well. So, but in most cases, our analysis will involve the life gua as well as the animal sign or the year pillar of the residence. Okay, so most of the Feng Shui involves that. So yes, the answer is yes, you have to use the animal sign of the person. And there's the next question here. The practitioner talks about specific 15-degree directions that are individualized for a particular person. Is this hocus pocus? No, it is not. In fact, in higher level Feng Shui, if you go up to level 4 of our studies, or you study until Shan Kong Da Gua or San He Feng Shui, it goes down to the specific degree in the compass that represents the person. It's that precise. The reason they can do that is because most of the high level Feng Shui is used in old days for yin house, meaning graveyard Feng Shui. So on the tombstone there's only like one specific degree, and it does affect certain descendants based on their specific animal size. Now in a house, we normally use up to the 15 degrees. So every 15 degrees, now if you look at the 24 directions, let me just bring up the 24 directions. Now, if you look at this chart here, this is the 24 directions or 24 mountains of your basic Feng Shui compass. Every basic beginner practitioner of Feng Shui would come across this compass. Okay, nowadays you can download this off in iLopan software that we have. It's quite simple. Now, as you can see, the animal signs are part of the branches inside the Feng Shui compass. Okay, for example, you can see here in Southeast 1, it's the dragon, Southeast 3 is the snake, South 2 is the horse, then Southwest 1 is the goat, and so forth. So all the 12 animals is listed right here. Now, as a simple Feng Shui theory you could learn right now. Let's say now you are familiar with the theory of Grand Duke, okay, which means the animal sign of the specific year. Like 2012 is the year of the dragon. So we know the Grand Duke is in the dragon, okay. Now we all know that dragon clashes with the dog, opposition animal signs. So the dog is in Northwest 1. So Northwest 1 is called the year breaker or Shui Po sector. Now, let's say now the person who's living in this house so happens also to be born in the year of the dragon. Now it's already his Tai Sui year, and so happens that he works, sleeps, or the main door of the house enters from the Northwest 1. Then it is also his personal year breaker. So this is a clash. And when will the problems happen? In 2012, because that is the year breaker direction. So that's why it is important to incorporate the 15 degrees influence into the chart. In fact, if you go to higher levels of Feng Shui analysis, you actually go down to the details of each hexagram in the Feng Shui compass. So the next question here is, as we are approaching October 8, which is a 55 yellow star period. Okay, so these questions are taken verbatim exactly as they were sent to me. So I believe what you're trying to ask me is what's going to happen this 55 star month. Well, in general, 55s are bad because, you know, we call it Wang Chong Dip. Okay, Wang Chong Dip means 55 overlaying on the same sector, double negative. However, there are exceptions to rules. You see, the students know the rules, the master must know how to break the rules, okay, without having the problems. So what happens is this: 55s appear in Southeast, yes, by nature is a problem, but it also depends on two factors. What have you done before the 5 comes in? Because you see, every sector in the house follows the calendar, which is cyclical. So the chi doesn't just appear just because it enters the month. It has to slowly, gradually take over space. So if you've previously know certain positive dates and pre-activated stars 8 and 2 that's already entered the sector, stars 8 itself can also pacify the 5s. Or if you've activated the 4 noble auspicious stars, Dragon Virtue, the Fortune Virtue, Sun and Moon stars on the specific dates, you have already infused that sector with positive chi. So when the 5 comes in, think of it like a burger, right? In the middle there's a positive chi, so it dissipates, pacifies the negative, the whole thing is actually positive. And that's the first point. The second point is, yes, there are double 5s, there are also double 8s. So the double 8s are in the west sector, for example. So the positive sectors become more positive. So if you know how to use the sectors accordingly, you can also double the positive effects. Okay, so not to always worry about the negative chi. Now, can you explain how chi goes up a house calculation in advanced Feng Shui? I live in a North 1 house with 4th floor connected by a stairway located in the west sector of my house. Okay, The Qi always is like this. For the first floor, the ground floor, okay, depending on which country you are, meaning I'm talking the level on the ground, main Qi always comes in from the ground level, okay? But it enters the upper floors through a Qi mouth. That's very important to understand. Whenever we talk about multiple story buildings, the access point from internal would be the location of the staircase or the escalators or the elevator. So we need to ensure that it is also bringing up from a positive facing star all the way to the floor that is required. Now in advanced feng shui, as requested by this question, advanced has got different types, okay? So if we are talking about Xuan Kong, then every floor, every story in the building is also governed by a star. So there is horizontal flying in your Lo Shu, there's also vertical flying within the floors. So every floor is also dominated by a different Xuan Kong star, and from that star also has this dominant prosperous and weakening Qi mouth. So the idea is to locate the entrance to the floor at a prosperous sector according to the Xuan Kong element. Then the whole floor itself is prosperous. That's how it is calculated. If you want to know how to calculate this floor, I've talked about this technique in the Feng Shui for Apartment Buyers book, and this is also listed as the floor calculation technique. 876 combination is good in the kitchen and for the stove, question mark. Even the 6 is metal and the stove is fire. Now, good question, because normally we do not put the stove with the fire element, because fire counters metal. However, did you not have an 8 star? The 8 is the earth, so fire will produce the earth produce the metal, no clash, so it is okay. Now, when the 5 is in the center, what can we do? When the region 8 is activated with mountain and water, and the center of the building is open, I can cure this situation, and which is worse, Fu Yin or Fan Yin? Now, obviously, you have studied some feng shui in order to ask a question like this. Let me break this question down so that most of you would understand. 5 in the center, there's nothing you need to do about it, because, you know, where else would you want the 5 to be? The 5 is best to go back into the center palace. That's the home of the 5. Then the other sectors are free to do, you know, whatever you want to do with it. Okay? Now, when you say when the region 8 is activated with mountain and water and the center of the building is open, I can cure this situation. Why do you need to cure if your 8 star is activated? There's no cure. Okay, there's no need to cure. A good 8 star at the facing, if it's a facing star, now here I need to correct something. Don't call it mountain and water star. In my class, I make it a point to make it clear to everybody, you should call it facing star and sitting star, because mountain star and water star refers to an actual mountain with a certain shape. That's a mountain star. Do you know, in ancient books, they called stars as mountain shape. For example, star 2, mountain star 2 is a huge door mountain, a mountain with a flat top. So it's actually a visual and actual thing. For practitioners, we know the difference. So, you know, a good practitioner must be able to differentiate between a facing star and a water star. It's different. And the mountain star and the sitting star is 2 different things. There are 4 different things we're talking about. Facing star is the star you see in the flying star chart. Water star is the shape or the type of water you see in the external environment. So it is different. So in this case here, we are probably, this question the person asked is referring to a facing star 8 supported by water. That's great, okay? Or a sitting star 8 supported by a mountain. That is great. That is called activation by natural forms. It's fantastic. Now, is there any way to know the problems of the Bazi charts of the person without having to study it in depth to apply in the study of a feng shui? Now, of course, you can also study in depth about a person in the house through the Xuan Kong flying star charts. In fact, we teach that in our programs, how you look at the chart and you find out whoever is using the area and what sort of problems he would have. It's just like reading an astrology chart of the people living in a specific room or using a specific room. Now, if you can either do that through the Xuan Kong charts or do that with the Bazi charts, either way. But if you just want to do it by, a very simple analysis, then I would just say look at the day pillar and look at the year pillar. That would give you a general idea of the personality or basic issues that the person would have. Now, whenever we talk about Feng Shui, let's say you want to go to the basic bare minimum, the life goal would be enough for you to use as a reference point in your Feng Shui assessment. Okay, I have a horse in my Bazi chart. What do I have to do in this October in order to avoid disastrous outcome? Now, let me just give you a little bit of a heads up here. That's because October, everyone is afraid of the double fives coming in. And second thing, October is the month of the dog in 2012, and the dog clashes the year's dragon, so everyone is afraid. Now, if you have a horse in the chart, the horse has a potential to also combine with the dog. We don't like a chart to combine and clash at the same time, okay? Now, what to do depends on what problems you may have in the first place, because most of the time when people ask a question, we don't know what the problem is until we see the whole Bazi chart, because we need to know what is horse to you. Is this your wealth element? Is this your output element? Is this your officer element? Is this your resource element? Now, this is a resource element, then you got to relate to your health related issues. So it would be great that once you enter the month of the dog, which is this year, then it would be great to do a full medical checkup. And of course, the horse does relate to the heart. So you might want to do a scan, check the arteries, and depends on whether your own house itself, the South 2 and North 2 sector has any negative forms, because North 2 and South 2 is also the rat and horse. That indicates a clash with the heart. So you can check all this to see whether your heart condition is good. If not, then do a checkup to prevent problems that could occur this month. That's how it is done. And this is the last question, and it's here. How to harness the 5 yellow star? Now, I did mention in the 2 videos about harnessing the 5 star. Now, this is the most tricky part of Feng Shui. You got to understand. First, let me tell you, if you study any Feng Shui, classical Feng Shui, especially when you study flying star Feng Shui, star 5, it's always, any teacher, any practitioner will tell you that star 5 is the most negative star. I tell you the same thing too. It's a very dangerous star, so we don't want to activate this star. Now, when we say harness the 5 star, is only if you know what you're doing. You can use the 5 star positively to bring in more wealth. Now, the thing is this. We always use star 8, star 9, star 1, the goody stars to bring wealth. But these are stars at most creates millionaires. You want to talk about creating multi-millionaires, all the tycoons that I've seen, all the billionaire clients that we have seen, they all use the most intense type of Feng Shui. We actually have to control the 5 yellow star to bring in the Qi. Now, some practitioners say, hey, this is nonsense. How can you do that? That's dangerous. Yes, but those practitioners themselves are also not very rich. That's why they're going the safety, risk-free route. You want to be rich and wealthy, you got to take some risk, you got to be able to control. But then again, it is true that there are risks. So if you want to harness the 5 star, a few conditions need to be met. Number 1, you need to understand your environment, because environment empowers the star. You must understand where the positive Qi, environmental Qi, is coming from, and that your house is already attached to attracting and receiving this Qi and empowering the 5 stars, so that positive Qi now infuse this sector. Second thing is you need to be very well versed with the date selection, because you need to select certain dates to pacify or to control the 5, because the dates itself can bring the 5 to merge together with the house as well as your Bazi chart, so that you could utilize in harmony with this 5 yellow star. So these are 2 ways, the simple way that you can incorporate these 2 factors in. Okay, so it's not something that can easily discuss now. It's definitely not putting wind chimes and putting, coins in a salt water bowl. Then it's not harnessing the 5, okay? In fact, there's no need to put wind chimes and coins on the 5 yellow. That doesn't actually do anything. What you need to do is be able to use certain dates and do certain activation, triggering or groundbreaking in the house that can trigger the Qi to bring in and connect with this element, so that it becomes a powerful element that supports you instead of working against you. So I hope you enjoyed this session on the debrief on the Feng Shui assessment that we did. Now, there will be a lot more of these sessions coming up here, and I hope you guys can one day join us live in an actual site visit. Now, some of you have expressed interest in learning how to do this. Now it's really simple. Now either you attend a live class with us and follow like all the students to attend a assessment. Nowadays we do bring our students on site to have a look at how we actually do Feng Shui. And now the majority of my business is geared towards consulting. Okay, I'm not just an educator that does teaching. Most of my work is in consulting. That's why I can tell you from practical experiences how to use the formulas. Because I can tell you for a fact that learning Feng Shui by the book, even if you follow down to the classical Feng Shui, down to the T, is not exactly how you apply it. Because when you do for development, you know, I work with the biggest developers here in Asia. When you use Feng Shui for development projects, it is very different than how it is written like principally on the book. Okay, so the way it is applied cannot just go by the book. Just like you study university, you study accounting, does it mean that you use every single thing by all the textbooks? No, there are certain exceptions when it comes to applications, right? So my Feng Shui programs that I've designed are based on the practical aspects of using these formulas that I have, okay? So if you're interested in taking this further and you couldn't come to one of our live programs, let me recommend you the programs that I have on home study. Now, my flagship program is called Feng Shui Mastery, and I have levels 1, 2, 3, and 4. The ones that you see that we went on site is using a level 1 information. That is level 1 Feng Shui. And in fact, if you find that there's already a lot of information, then you need to go and see what we have in level 2. This is what we call it Module 1 and Module 2, the home study program. Now, this program here was originally written back in 1997 and been upgraded ever since until today. And a lot of Feng Shui masters that are out there practicing, very successful practitioners, are graduates of my program. I've been doing this for 16 years now. This is the most updated version. It is a live recording of the session that I did here in Kuala Lumpur, and there are lots of students who've gone through this program. And level 1 here teaches you how to talk about your own home. Just like the way that you see in the 2 videos, we go to a house, we assess the forms using 8 mansions and flying stars. All these are just level 1 information. And this program here is a recording of all those lessons that are there, and you can watch it at the comfort of your own home, in your own time, over and over again, and follow the procedure. And there will be workbooks that you can download, and this is our actual Feng Shui Mastery Level 1 program, and you can study this from your home. And the goal is so that you will understand all the information to apply Feng Shui, just like you saw in the 2 videos, like how I did it, and like all the students, you get to see it on site. You will be able to get all that information, including 8 mansions and flying stars, by studying this program. Now, should you want to take that a bit further, like some of you have the question of, oh, how about, you know, San-He formulas, like 5 ghosts carry treasure to usher in wealth, San-He for water formations, all those other techniques. How about yearly stars? How about monthly stars? How do you match 8 mansions and flying star Feng Shui together? How do you create results for wealth? How do you enhance a career? How do you enhance certain relationship? How do you make sure deals work out? How do you use Feng Shui to create results? Then this will be the Master Practitioner program. Now, this program trains you to up to a Feng Shui Master's level, and it is a 4-day program, but it has in the home study version, you can watch the lesson that you need at your own pace. The live program itself is a 4-day program, but when you do it at home, you can download the related lesson, watch it over and over again before going to the next one, and there will be workbooks for you to go through. So it does cover all the advanced formulas as per classical Feng Shui. And you will learn San Yuan Feng Shui, Flying Star Feng Shui, 8 Mansion Feng Shui, and San-He Feng Shui as well. Now, the schools and techniques are not as important as the practical aspect. In this program, we actually talk about how you apply Feng Shui to a real life situation and how to use that to solve problems. So this program itself is our cornerstone program, and now we have it in home study version. So you don't have to fly all the way here to Malaysia to attend the program. You can actually do it in your country. This is Feng Shui Mastery program for you. Now, as a special promotion for our launch of this program, here's something that I would like to offer you. Now, if you could register early, okay, this is our usual price for the Feng Shui Mastery Module 1 Home Study Program. This is the site that we are selling at $395 US. Feng Shui Module 2 is $1,000 US. So the combined price is $1,395. However, as a special promotion for you after having watched the 2 videos and you're interested, to register with us, we have a package here. So until the expiry date as stated in this website right now, if you click on the registration right now and you register for both modules, we are offering it for only $1,100. So if you're interested in Feng Shui and you're serious about taking this to the next level, at the updated version of our Feng Shui Mastery programs, level 1 and 2, study at the comfort of your own home, this is the package for you. Now, there's an expiry for this offer, and as you can see from the link below, so if you would register right now, you would get it at this price. Now, to encourage you further, because I would really like you to take this program up, I feel that it will benefit you and the family, and as well as if you're thinking of starting this Feng Shui practice as a career, or you're already a practitioner in Feng Shui, this program will definitely benefit you. So let me encourage you further by offering these bonuses. Now, in the past, I've actually recorded 40 lessons, which I call the Mastery Academy e-learning program. And it is a whole Feng Shui e-learning set that contains 40 sort of like a la carte lessons. And these lessons are online lessons coupled together with downloadable notes and videos and presentation slides that you can watch. So you can watch this as a supplement to the level 1 and 2, Feng Shui module 1 and 2 program that you purchase. So this will be a bonus that I'm offering you for all the registrations that come in right now. So the value of this program itself, if you purchase this 40 lessons elsewhere, it is actually $900 for all 40 lessons. So if you would register now, I would give this to you for free. Okay, so this will be one bonus. Now, in order to encourage you further, we actually have live tutorial sessions. So we have instructors that will conduct this program, and if you sign up for this program, we will include an online Feng Shui tutorial session where you can actually ask us your questions and we will be able to answer you. And this is itself a $200 per session training. So after you study the program, I'm sure you might have some questions because it's not a live program, right? So after watching it, you have questions. Here is an online Feng Shui tutorial session that you can join and you can get your questions answered. So these two valued together, it's already $1,100. So if you purchase the Feng Shui Home Study Program levels 1 and 2, you get a discounted price of $1,001. It's the same value I'm offering you in bonuses as well for all the registrations that are happening right now. So click on the button that you see at your screen below and register right now. So I hope to see you in our future tutorials online, in our future classes. Thank you very much for watching our videos here, and all the best.